welcome to my YouTube video. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to start a cable mid-fabric on a reverse stockinette stitch background. This is the chart. In this particular cable, and this is just an example of one cable, there's probably several different ways to do the same function. In this particular one, we're going to be following this chart, and we see we have this reverse stockinette stitch background, and we're going to be working purls on this row, and then we're going to do a left lifted increase here, then a right lifted increase here, and then continue with the purls. We're going to do this in a special way. These aren't ordinary lifted increases. These were taught to be by a good friend of mine, Françoise Monerau, and she came up with a very tidy way of working these so that they just come right out of the fabric. So let me show you how to do that. So you're going to work over to the position where you want the cables. In this instance, I'm going to work 5 stitches in reverse stockinette stitch. Helps if you work with the working yarn and not the tail, right? Has that ever happened to you? Okay, we're going to work 5 stitches in reverse stockinette stitch. Three, 4, 5. Then we're going to, this is the first, on this chart, you can see that this is over 2 stitches. So the first stitch we're going to knit, and then we're going to make the lifted increase below that stitch. And let me magnify this. So I knitted this stitch. Now you know when you do a left lifted increase, you need to go down 2 stitches from the stitch on the needle. So it would be in this stitch where we're going to make the left lifted increase. It's 1, 1, 2, 3 stitches down. And we're going to use, so we have the leg of this stitch right here. We can see that it's up here. Let's just pull that stitch. That's the stitch we want to use. But we're going to use the leg of that stitch right here underneath the bar rather than above the bar. This is the bar. Here's the stitch. We're going to lift this part of the stitch up and put it on the left needle, and we're going to knit it through the front. Let's do that again. It's kind of tricky. So you have, let me get my pointer. We have the stitch on the needle, the stitch below the needle right here, and this is the second stitch down, or 1, 2, 3. We're not going to work it into this part of it. We're going to work it into the part below the bar. Now you could pick this up with your left needle and work it through the front, or you can pick it up with the right needle and put it on the left needle and then work it through the front. So that's the left lifted increase on the reverse stockinette stitch fabric. So we knitted this stitch, left lifted increase. Now we're going to make a right lifted increase. It's worked in the stitch directly below. It's worked in the stitch directly below the stitch on the needle. So it's going to be worked in this stitch right here. 1, 2. And again, and it's tight because we already used this strand on the other side. Again, we're not going to pick it up above the bar. Here's the bar. We're going to pick it up below the bar. So you can use your right needle tip, go below the bar, pick up this stitch, put it on the left needle, and knit it through the back. And I'll do that again. So it is the second stitch, 1 stitch below the one on the needle, so 1, 2, It's this stitch right here that we're going to be working in, and we're going to work into the right leg. That's why it's called a right lifted increase, and the right leg is below the bar. So we're going to pick up that right leg with the right needle, put it on our left needle, and work it through the back. And then we're going to knit this stitch, and we'll continue on with the reverse stockinette stitch. So it ends up looking like this. So we have the stitch that we knitted is right here. Here is the stitch that the left lifted increase, the right lifted increase, and the knitted stitch here. These are this is this leg that we knitted into, both of these legs. So it gives us this nice reverse stockinette stitch surface. And when I block this, I put a pin right here to kind of make these stitches even, because they'll want to pull up a little bit because it's really tight there. Put a pin here, but this cable just emanates right out of the fabric. Isn't that lovely? There's going to be a link up in this corner here to the playlist for the rest of this. This is in association with a pillow that I'm doing called Colam. It's on Ravelry. There'll be a link down below. And I hope if you enjoyed my video that you go ahead and click the thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and come back and watch some more. Happy knitting.